Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Carrolet Thomas, and welcome to my channel. Thank you to those of you who have subscribed to my channel, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Today's message is, the truth has consequences. This is a prophetic word and prophetic warning from God. The truth has consequences. I don't know why people lie. A lying tongue is one of the 6 things that God hates, per Proverbs chapter 6, verses 16 through 19. And saying sorry doesn't always fix things, nor fix things with people, especially when it is not sincere. The truth has consequences. For this prophetic word, we are going to look at some biblical examples where lies were told, the truth came out, and the resulting outcomes. First, Joseph's brothers. The story of Joseph, found in the Bible in Genesis chapters 37 through chapter 50, details his journey from a favored, betrayed son to a ruler in Egypt. Sold into slavery by jealous brothers, he overcame wrongful imprisonment, interpreted dreams to save Egypt from famine, and ultimately forgave his family, rescuing them during the crisis. The early years and betrayal. The favored son. Joseph was the 11th son of Jacob and his favored wife, Rachel. Jacob gave him an ornamental, colorful robe. The dreams. Joseph had prophetic dreams indicating that his parents and brothers would eventually bow down to him. Sold into slavery. Driven by jealousy, his older brothers faked his death and sold him to traveling merchants on their way to Egypt. Life in Egypt. Potiphar's house. In Egypt, Joseph was bought by Potiphar, an officer of the Pharaoh. He quickly rose to oversee Potiphar's household. False accusation. Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph of assault when he rejected her advances, leading to his imprisonment. Dream interpreter. While in prison, Joseph correctly interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh's imprisoned cupbearer and baker. Rise to power and the famine. Pharaoh's dreams. Years later, Pharaoh had troubling dreams about 7 fat cows consumed by 7 lean cows. The cupbearer remembered Joseph, who was summoned to interpret them. Viceroy of Egypt. Joseph explained the dreams, predicted 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine. Impressed, Pharaoh made Joseph the 2nd most powerful man in Egypt, putting him in charge of gathering and storing grain. Reconciliation and the rescue of his family. The brothers' return. When the famine hit, it affected Canaan too. Joseph's brothers traveled to Egypt to buy grain, not recognizing their brother in his position of power. The test. Joseph tested their character before revealing his identity. Moved by their remorse and changed hearts, he openly wept and forgave them, famously telling them that while they meant to harm him, God used it for good to save many lives. Relocation. Joseph invited his aging father Jacob and the entire family to relocate to the fertile region of Goshen in Egypt. Jealous of Joseph's favoritism, his brothers sold him into slavery. To cover their crime, they dipped his special tunic in goat's blood and lied to their father Jacob, claiming a wild beast killed him. Jacob was devastated and mourned deeply. The outcome: immediate impact. The deception caused Jacob years of inconsolable grief, while Joseph suffered hardship and imprisonment in Egypt. Long-term outcome: Joseph rose to power in Egypt. Years later, when the brothers traveled to Egypt for food during a famine, they eventually reconciled with Joseph. Theological resolution: Joseph famously forgave his brothers, recognizing that despite their evil intentions, God used the outcome to save their family from starvation. It is amazing what people will do to people they say that they love when they become jealous. Lies are usually found out. The truth has consequences. Next, Haman. Haman, a high-ranking official under King Xerxes, manipulated the king into signing a genocidal decree by lying that the Jewish people were lawless and a threat to the empire. The outcome was Haman's total downfall. He was exposed by Queen Esther, executed on the very gallows he built for Mordecai, and the Jews were authorized to defend themselves. Overview of the deception. The motive: Haman was driven by a personal vendetta. When the Jewish man Mordecai refused to bow to him, Haman sought to punish not just Mordecai, but all Jews in the Persian Empire. The lie: Haman approached King Xerxes and deliberately used vague, deceitful language. He claimed there was a scattered, subversive group of people with rebellious customs. The manipulation: to gain the king's approval, Haman offered a massive bribe of 10,000 talents of silver to the royal treasury. Unaware of the identity of this group and unaware that his own Queen Esther was Jewish, Xerxes granted Haman his signet ring and authorized him to issue an empire-wide decree to annihilate, kill, and plunder the Jews. The outcome: Esther's intervention. Informed of the impending genocide, Queen Esther risked her life by approaching the king uninvited to reveal her heritage and expose Haman's treachery. Haman's execution. King Xerxes was enraged to discover his trusted advisor had manipulated him. He ordered Haman to be executed on the 75-foot gallows that Haman had prepared for Mordecai. Reversal of the plot. Because Persian laws could not be directly repealed or canceled, Xerxes issued a new decree allowing the Jewish people to band together and defend themselves against any attackers on the scheduled day. The Feast of Purim. The Jews successfully defended themselves, and their intended destruction was turned into a great victory. This deliverance is still commemorated today by the Jewish festival of Purim. There is an old saying that you don't hear much anymore. It said, when you dig a ditch, you might as well dig two, because the ditch you dig for me just might be for you. The truth has consequences. Next, the two prostitutes. In the biblical account of the judgment of Solomon in 1 Kings chapter 3 verses 16 through 28, two women who lived together each gave birth to a baby. One baby died during the night, and that mother falsely claimed the living baby as her own. King Solomon uncovered the lie by threatening to cut the living baby in half, prompting the true mother to selflessly surrender the child to save its life. Overview of the dispute. The incident. Two women lived together in the same house, each with an infant boy. During the night, one mother rolled over onto her baby, suffocating him. The thefts and lies. Realizing her child was dead, The woman swapped the babies while the other slept, placing her dead son in the other mother's arms. The argument. When the second mother awoke to nurse, she discovered the deception. Both women stood before King Solomon, arguing their cases. The outcome. The test. Unable to determine the truth from their testimonies, Solomon called for a sword and ordered the living baby to be divided in two, giving half to each woman. The reveal. The false mother agreed to the compromise, stating, "It shall be neither mine nor yours, divided." However, the true mother was overcome with compassion and pleaded with Solomon to spare the baby's life and give it to the other woman. The verdict. Because her selfless love proved she was the real mother, Solomon ordered the baby to be given to the second woman. The aftermath. The liar was denied the child. While the biblical text does not explicitly record a formal legal punishment like imprisonment or execution for the perjurer, the miraculous wisdom displayed in this ruling solidified King Solomon's reputation as a just and divinely gifted ruler throughout all of Israel. Yes, people will lie and try to take what is yours, but a wise person with keen discernment, with help of God, will be able to get to the truth. And God will give it back to you. And best believe that whoever stole from you will be punished by God. God says, "Vengeance is mine, I shall repay." And that's per Romans chapter 12, verse 19. The truth has consequences. Next, the young prophet. The story of the young prophet, the man of God, and the old prophet is found in 1 Kings chapter 13. God commanded the young prophet to travel to Bethel, denounce the king's false altar, and return home immediately without eating, drinking, or taking the same road back. The deception. After successfully delivering his message and rejecting the king's hospitality, the young prophet rested under an oak tree. An older prophet from Bethel sought him out and lied, claiming an angel told him to bring the young prophet back to his house for a meal. The young prophet believed the lie, went back to the old prophet's house, and ate. The outcome. Because the young prophet disobeyed God's direct command, God spoke through the old prophet to pronounce judgment. As the young prophet left to go home, a lion attacked and killed him on the road. The lion did not eat the body or attack the young prophet's donkey, but instead stood guard beside the corpse, serving as a sign of divine judgment. Hearing the news, the old prophet retrieved the body, buried it in his own family tomb, and instructed his sons that he too should be buried next to the young prophet when he died. Key lessons and perspectives. Obedience above all. Biblical scholars generally agree that this narrative highlights the critical importance of prioritizing God's direct, revealed commands over any secondary advice or claims, even when it comes from a respected, older religious figure. Test the message. The story serves as a warning against spiritual gullibility. Theologians often note that believers are called to discern and test messages against what God has already clearly stated, rather than blindly following someone just because they claim to speak for the Lord. Just because a person is older, seasoned, highly educated, has doctorate and or professional degrees, has high positions and or titles in the world and or in the church, does not mean that they won't lie. Many do it when it benefits them, and some do it all the time. When God gives you an instruction and or directions directly, don't let nobody, and I mean nobody, cause you to follow them and what they are saying over what God said. No matter if it is family, friends, associates, strangers, etc. No matter who likes it and no matter who doesn't. The truth has consequences. And lastly, Ananias and Sapphira. Ananias and Sapphira, a couple in the early Christian church, secretly withheld a portion of their land sale proceeds while pretending to donate the entire amount. When confronted by Peter, they maintained the deception, effectively lying to the Holy Spirit rather than just the apostles. Consequently, both died instantly. The biblical account is primarily detailed in Acts chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. The core sin, hypocrisy and pride. The early church was characterized by believers voluntarily selling their possessions and pooling the money to ensure no one was in need. Ananias and Sapphira wanted the social prestige, honor, and appearance of being totally sacrificial, but they secretly kept a portion for themselves. Testing the spirit. Peter clarified that they were under no obligation to sell their property, nor were they forced to give all the money to the church. The issue was that they conspired to lie to God about their giving. The outcome, immediate judgment. Upon being confronted by Peter about his lie, Ananias collapsed and died on the spot. About 3 hours later, Sapphira unknowingly arrived. When Peter gave her an opportunity to tell the truth, she reiterated the lie and immediately dropped dead as well. The aftermath. Young men from the congregation carried both bodies out for burial. The immediate consequence of their deceit was death. Effect on the church. The severe outcome sent a shock wave of great fear through the entire church and surrounding community. It established the absolute holiness and purity of the fledgling church, demonstrating that God sees through deceit and cannot be manipulated. There used to be a commercial. When I say, in my opinion, commercials were good. And it said, "It's not nice to fool Mother Nature." Then there would be thunder roaring in the background. Well, more than Mother Nature, it is dangerous to try to fool God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Don't fool around and find out. Just don't do it. The truth has consequences. Tell the truth, shame the devil, and obey God. I hope and pray that this message has been a blessing to you. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you feel led, you can make a donation. Thank you for listening and supporting my YouTube channel. God bless you and just be happy.